Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Overlay, a poker podcast. I'm not even going to do any brought to yous by, because after 75 episodes, we figure you probably know who the sponsors are, and frankly, they're not giving me any more money, so this is your host, Ken.
If this is your first episode, guys, just don't listen to this one because it probably sucks in comparison to some of the other ones.
We don't do very many.
We have some good episodes.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of in unison episodes where it's and I guess you don't have to listen to these because we're still on the top 6 toughest premium holdem hands to play. We are all the way up to number 2, the second most difficult Texas holdem hand, and that's honestly only because we did top 6 rather than top 5. If we were doing top 5, this would be the number 1 most difficult hand to play, correct?
It's pretty hard to play.
I find this list is a little odd. I feel like the top 6, we drag in pocket 10s as the 6th most.
Yeah, you don't like
premium.
10s.
I don't think that they're that good. I don't have difficulty playing pocket 10s because I don't put a premium on that. If you'd asked me name, I don't think I would have named 10s. I arguably would have said ace queen is a higher hand for me personally. Ace queen suited. I'm going to go with suited. A suited ace queen, I think I would rather have than pocket 10s. If you put out a vote.
Fair enough.
Yeah, if you put out a vote.
I think that's the PLO in us, though.
It might be, and I do have a very difficult time kind of separating those two games. My mind is just so hell-bent on only wanting to play PLO that I have difficulty when I play 2-card PLO, and I don't do so well because you're always like, they never have it. And I was like, but there's a flush, the backdoor flush hit. And they're like, they never have a backdoor flush. And I was like, but the black backdoor flush hit. And then he bet, and I didn't know what to do. Oh boy!
The amount of time, I like how you call it 2-card PLO.
Yeah.
Don't even call it holdem anymore. It's 2-card PLO.
It's 2-card PLO. I don't play anything else. I play 2-card PLO and I play 4-card PLO, but I don't really want to play 5-card PLO. Not a 5-card hand. I think that's just
me neither.
You don't need it. That's like saying, "Hey, let's go do a bunch of crack, and then we'll do more crack." Nah, that doesn't make any sense. Let's try this again.
No, it's like saying, "Let's go do heroin," and then on top of the heroin, they're like, "Well, this is just a little bit fentanyl on top of it." I mean,
right? Yeah, just a little fentanyl. A little fentanyl never hurt anybody. I feel like this is insensitive. It would be like saying, "Hey, let's go fight a shark, and then on top of it, let's throw a lion in the cage or the shark tank."
Yeah, we get what we're trying to say.
Dumb. Anyway,
we don't need a 5th card.
We don't need a 5th card. 2-card PLO.
That's like 2.5 card. 2.5 times holdem is no good.
Right. 2-card PLO or 4-card PLO. Anyways, hey, this is the overlay. This is what we do. Brandon and I talk about poker. Thank you for listening. If this is the first time you've ever listened, if it's the last time,
like I said,
if it's the last time you ever listen, hit us up around the WSOP season because we do a lot of cool stuff when we're in Vegas. And I feel like this year we're really going to push the overlay. Team Overlay is going to be sponsored by CCG and Paramount Social Club. And I feel like we could do a lot of damage down there. Should be great. Maybe we'll get Liam to join us.
Hey, congrats to Liam. He is a listener.
Hardcore CCG fan, been around CCG for a very long time. Won himself a seat, not via satellite, but via a promotion where, what were the qualifications? I hope we're not embarrassing him by saying this, but I think it's pretty cool.
No, absolutely not. He was on cloud 9 at the event last week. He was bouncing around the walls telling everybody, so I'm sure he'd be more than welcome to have us tell. I don't know the exact qualifications, so I apologize if I screw up the numbers a little bit, but it was like a Dream Maker giveaway where the person had to be, I want to say, either under 30 or under 25. So, a very young poker player early in their career, and had to have under a certain amount of earnings on Hendon Mob. I'm not sure if that was 10K, 20K, 5K. Either way, any of those 3 numbers, relatively low.
But in
the poker scale.
They weren't looking for a guy who banked an $80,000 tournament and be like, oh, let's give this guy.
They're looking for somebody who's never played in a 10K before and is a young kid, and give them a chance to make their dream come true. And I really think of all the possible candidates, Liam has to be up there on this making his dream come true.
Because he loves the game of poker. Like, he loves the game of poker.
Like, his job was poker news over the WSOP. So, I mean, he's around all of these.
Dude, and I kid you not,
buy-ins.
when I was playing the Millionaire Bounty tournament, like, that guy literally runs around the room, like, trying to catch hands, and, like, obviously he's going through, like, and he knows everybody. Like, I was not, actually, I'm kind of mad at Liam. Liam, I'm mad at you. This is Ken, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'm the host of The Overlay, a poker podcast. I had no idea. I sat down. I got chips. I got like 200K. I'm a big dog. I just left the last table from Paris, walked my ass all the way over to Bally's. I'm table captain, bro. Like, I'm the captain now. I sit down at my table, and I even said, I'm the captain now. And then I see Liam. I was like, oh, hey, Liam, what's up? Hey, bro, up. We hand fist bump, whatever. I don't know what we did. Hugged. That's fine. I hug men. It's okay. I'm comfortable with myself. And Liam's like, bro, rough table draw. And I was like, what? Why? I had no idea who these cats are. I don't care. I have no idea. I don't know a single person in the poker room other than if you've played at CCG or you've played in Houston or you were blessed enough to be at the TCH Houston, Texas Card House in Houston, and watch me just dominate a table from $700 into like $15K in the best way that Ken knows how to do it. That's why they call me the King of Flips. Check out that episode, which is number, I don't know, somewhere in there.
Oh.
King of Flips. I'll find it. Somewhere in there. Regardless, that's a great episode, King of Flips.
All right, we're 9 minutes in. You want to
episode 60. Anyways, if Liam,
all right, episode 60. That's a good episode.
If Liam wasn't
pause this one right now,
right? If Liam wasn't so good at his job, then I wouldn't have known that these guys were like big swinging hitters. And like, he's like, oh yeah, so-and-so's got 2 bracelets. That guy just won a bracelet over there. That guy's won a ton of online money. That guy's a huge cash game player. This guy's just a drunk, but he's got a lot of chips. And apparently he doesn't care anything about money. And I was just like, dude, Liam, why are you telling me this? It's like, hey, nice young kid who rolls into the horror movie that has nothing wrong. Like, I'm not going to get murdered. Oh no. Yeah, actually you are. If you walk over there's like 9 dudes with chainsaws. They're going to eat your body. And then what happened? Ken.
So I have to say, if Liam is a horror movie character, he's like the one that gets killed in the middle, but was right the whole time. Yep. Like at the end, they find out that like, oh, he was right. But, you know, he gets killed in the middle. Like the dumb blonde gets killed first, and then like someone like Liam.
Whoa, I'm the dumb blonde in this scenario?
No.
Oh, thanks, Tom.
No, I mean, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to make it. Make it. Or you're the bad guy, one of the two.
Or Liam's the bad guy, for sure. Because like nobody would suspect him, and he's like totally a serial killer. Anyways, sorry, Liam. Congratulations on your awesome seat.
But guys, it's a 10K seat.
It's amazing.
And we're not talking about $1,000. We're talking about a WPT. And this WPT is in December, I believe, at the Wynn. I believe it's going to be absolutely massive.
Mm-hmm.
So this 10K seat, I really think it's going to be over $1 million the first. So, I mean, what a sick tournament to play in for free.
And if you need any help, go ahead and listen to the last episodes, the top 6 toughest premium hold'em hands, just to bring it all back around. Today is episode number 76, Pocket... Nope. Let's try that again.
Pocket Ace Kings.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. A big slick.
No.
Ace King, the premiumist of the hold'em hands. It's the prettiest of the hold'em hands, but it literally is probably the most difficult to play. I say it's the most difficult. We're going with the second most difficult. We already talked about that. Anna Kournikova looks great. Rarely wins.
And she did look great. She never won.
She never won. Never did anything. I think she's still dating Enrique Iglesias, to be honest.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's possible. Pop information for you. All right, lay it out, Brandon. The poor folks have been listening for 10 minutes, and now they need some information on how to play Ace King.
All right. So we got you look down at the Ace King.
You're excited.
And now we did specifically say Ace King suited here, but I think we're just going to cover all Ace Kings.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we're just going to talk about Ace King in general. We'll talk a little bit about the difference between Ace King suited and Ace King offsuit. In relative, you know, strength, they're pretty close to each other. I think starting with the same structure we had been starting with, anything under 20 big blinds in a tournament, you're obviously trying to get all your money in pre-flop. and you're trying to get all your money in pre-flop from as many people as possible. And this is like a fist pump slam dunk. I was able to get my last 20 in with ace king. You're loving life. And if you're taking a flip, that's a little bit unfortunate, but hey, you're willing to flip right now with 20 bigs in a tournament. I do also think it is worth mentioning that the only time we're ever going to be quote unquote slow playing ace king is really with this stack depth, because this is a really good stack depth to, like, you know, try and follow the limp train or start the limp train and then get somebody to ISO and then you just pound it in their face all in. So ace king is not really a trapping hand, but the one area of big blinds that you would be possibly looking to trap would be in the, you know, 15 to 20 big blind, 15 to 25 big blind area.
You have too many chips. Yeah, too many chips to jam in, but not enough chips to like get like super sneaky here, but you can get like mediocre sneaky.
Yeah, like you don't want to, like you don't want, you're fine to be opening, but like you don't want to, you still have too many chips to 3-bet jam. So you're like, well, maybe I'll just limp, get sneaky, and then there'll be a razor and callers or multiple people limping. Well, now you can jam it all in and pick up 5, 6, 7 big blinds.
Or isolate heads up and then hope the guy's got queens or ace queen. Yeah. Or ace king unsuited. Or ace queen. Like whatever. Like just pick up that, chop up the dead money. Like there's nothing better in this world than that exact scenario. You go all in, you get called, and you both have ace king, and you're just hoping for no 4 flush, and you're really just chopping the dead money. Like, great. That sounds awesome. I'm totally down with that.
Yep. I can only call one.
And I really think that ace, what?
Nothing. I heard Surrey.
I really think that, you know, ace king is one of those hands that you're going to be aggressively putting in as many chips as you can pre-flop. And I think because ace king is so hard to play after the flop, because fun fact, you only flop an ace or a king 30% of the time, which means 70% of the time you're going to have no pair after the flop comes.
Yep. I also,
and that's not fun.
Yeah, just to add in my 2 cents besides that, I also feel like if you're a player like me, and I don't know if Brandon does, but I do this, but like I like playing like the queen jacks, king jacks, queen jack, you like whatever, like the middler cards. And like I feel like
broadways.
Yeah, and I really not an ace or king, like queen jack, jack 10, 9 10, things of that nature. And if you get a 10 high flop and I have 9 10, I feel really good. And a lot of the times the hand that I ultimately, maybe out of just wanting them to have it, like the hand I put them on is a big ace, like an ace king, maybe an ace queen, where I'm just like, all right, like I flop top pair and I can just put him on an ace king and like he's going to c-bet and I can 3-bet him and feel great about it and bing, bang, boom.
And then if he 4-bets, you know he has aces or kings or queens.
Correct. It's like
you just muck.
Yep, and then he just goes, I got ace king. Well, I hate this hand. It's so difficult. I wish there was a podcast I could listen to that would help me in this exact scenario. Enter the overlay.
Yeah, so I think going back to like your overall strategy with ace king, I think because it's so hard to play post flop, you want to get as many chips in pre flop, because it makes your stack to pot ratio smaller, and we've talked about that in almost every one of these episodes about how it's easier to play when there's more percentage of your chip stack in the pot when you have strong hands. And it's pretty easy to stack off with ace king high when you have 50% of your chips in already. B, it also defines their range a little bit better. And what you're hoping to do in a tournament style setting is to get those 10 9s, queen jacks, all those hands that are going to flop top pair on a 10 high board out of there. And you want to get to as close to heads up as you can, because ace king plays its best heads up.
For sure.
Don't get me wrong. When you're 4 ways in a pot, there's not a flop that doesn't have an ace or a king on it that you're happy about. Doesn't matter what it is. 2-2-2. You're not necessarily happy
because you lose the 6s there.
9-7-3. Every single flop you can come up with in a 4-way pot that doesn't have an ace or a king in it isn't good. And that's where everyone says, yeah, this is ace king. It's a drawing hand. You should wait till you hit an ace or a king first. Well, the problem with that is if you play ace king too passively, you're going to be going into multi-way pots with not that many chips in, and you end up not making as much chips as you should when you do flop an ace or king. And then you also open up the opportunity to going four ways, getting an ace high flop, stacking off, and then being behind because you're up against a very wide range and 6 other cards, as opposed to a rather tighter range and only 2 cards if you get more chips in and it ends up heads up. So that, I think, is a fallacy with ace king, that it's a drawing hand, so that many chips in. No, I'm saying the opposite. It is a drawing hand, but because it's such a good drawing hand, you want to be putting as many chips as possible and getting it as close to heads up, because it makes post-flop play that we all dread a lot easier when you set up this hand better pre-flop. So pre-flop is more important to setting up your hand than the rest of the hand.
I like that. I don't think I've ever thought of ace king that way. I've never thought of ace king as a drawing hand. But you're right. You're unhappy unless an ace or a king hits, and you're ecstatic when an ace or a king hits, and you're kind of in weird poker limbo when you don't hit an ace or a king. Unless it's suited and the flop is 2 clubs and you've got ace king of clubs, then hey, I guess that's what you're looking for. An ace or a king, or 4 to a flush, But see, the problem is with ace king, which I find it's weird to think of it as a drawing hand, because even straight draws are always going to be gut shots, whereas like a Jack 10, I can have open enders, and I'm always much happier when I have an open-ended straight flush draw versus a gutter ball and a club.
Yeah, and I also think that's another thing, and another issue with ace king making specifically straights is, in order for you to hit a straight, you need a queen, a jack, and a 10, which are all scare cards for the ace king until you hit the straight. I mean, cool, it comes queen 10. Well, that's not a good flop. You got a gutter ball. Yes, if you hit the jack, you have the nuts, but like queen 10 is going to hit at least some of their range. I mean, these are rather high cards. I think going back to defining their range is very important with ace king, and I think that all happens pre-flop. So I did plug in ace king suited into Poker Stove, which you all the numbers for you and GTO, and make sure you're playing hands effectively.
I don't know.
And if you're facing an under the gun open from a tight guy, under the gun open from a tight guy, you're still supposed to be 3-betting ace king suited. It's that strong. If they're opening under the gun with 9s plus and ace jack suited plus, ace king is ahead of that range, and that's a pretty strong range. 9s plus, that means they're folding 8s. Ace queen suited plus, that means they're folding ace queen off. So the old guys literally opens 9 times jacks, queens, kings, aces, ace king suited, ace queen suited, ace jack suited. That's it. You're way ahead of that range. So that really tells you the strength of ace king. I mean, yeah, if you're ahead of that range, you're ahead of a whole lot. Dude,
can we put
ranges.
ace king at the top of the drawing premium hands? Like, it's the most premium
it's the
drawing hand. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think this is going to change. I love how I have these like thoughts in my brain when we do the podcast.
It's going to change the way I play it too.
It's totally going to change the way I play it, and I hope that's what happens to the people listening. It's exact. I've never thought of it. I always look at that and I was like, damn, this is like top 3 hand. Aces, kings, ace, king. That's what I'm looking for. Every time I look down at my hand, I want one of those 3 cards or one of those 3 hands. So it's like, to me, it's number 3 on the top list. It's how I would rate my top 3 2-card PLO hands. But I've never thought of it as a drawing hand. I don't know. I dig it. I really like it. Great. You've won one person over on the ace king.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I got more.
Oh, no. Nice.
I got more. Because you have an ace and a king in your hand, I mean, you are blocking the 2 most premium hands of aces and kings. So with sheer aggression pre-flop, I mean, you could put a hand as good as queens to the ultimate test pretty comfortably, knowing that you block aces and kings, And I mean, obviously, there's still some combination of ace
Sure.
and kings. And if you run,
But there's
if you
less.
run into it, you run into it. But there's a whole lot less because you're holding an ace and a king. So now it's not like you can cap their range at queens, but a lot of the time, queens are going to be the best possible hand they're holding because you got an ace and a king. And now if you can put so much pressure on queens because they're so scared. Well, what hands are you playing like this? Well, aces, kings, and ace queen, right? They lose the 2/3 of those hands I just mentioned. They lose the aces, they lose the ace king, they lose the aces, they lose the kings, and they're rating against ace king. So 2/3 of the time they're crushed, and 1/3 of the time they're 50-50. They don't like that spot with queens. So now, this is why you can just pick up so much dead money pre-flop and not even have to worry about the fact that you whiffed 70% of the time with ace king because you're playing it so aggressively, knowing that they're going to be put to the test. And ace queen shrivels up, jack shrivel up. I mean, even in a hand like queens, they shrivel up when you're four betting and you're blocking an ace or a king. It's really tough for them to play. So I think not giving them the easy way out by playing ace kings conservatively is going to make you the most money.
You're going to win more hands in the long run playing ace king aggressively versus the way I play them, because I'm the exact guy. I raise pre-flop, the flop comes out garbage, and then the queen, and then maybe I give one continuation bet, and then I get raised, and I literally run away faster than, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
But that's okay. But that's fine. I mean, that in that scenario, playing ace king, you're the opener. You get called in a couple spots. It comes a queen 7-3 board. You see bet. You get called. It comes a brick. Check. River they bet. You fold. I'm okay with playing ace king like that. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't lose bunch of your chip stacks. You didn't. It's what's bad is when you got 90 big blinds and you're limping with ace king. Ace king cutoff. When we should be raising with ace king here in the cutoff every single time, but we're going to just call, then the button calls, then we play four ways, then we flop a king, and now we're super happy, and then we play resistance, and we play these huge pots, and we don't even like our spot.
You don't even know where you're at.
And these are the times where you're like, what the hell am I doing here with ace king? Like, that is how you butcher a hand. And in your mind, it's like, oh, I flopped a king with ace king. What can I do? Well, no, maybe there was something you could do, and you just didn't realize it. And, I always just like to chalk up my, air quoting mistakes to like unlucky, but maybe I could have played ace king differently to where the jack 8 suited didn't see the flop and it didn't come king jack 8 and I didn't stack off against bottom 2 with top pair in a 5-way pot when I'm just praying they don't have king jack, king 8, set of 8s, set of jacks. Maybe if I 3-bet and king jack folded or in jack 8 folded, but then pocket 10 stayed along and it came king jack 8. Now I make money off 10s, but instead I got stacked against jack 8 suited. These type of mistakes get made with ace king because people don't know how to play pre-flop, don't know how to play post-flop with them, and they get scared. And I also see like the 30 big blind just all in because they're just happy to take it. And I think that, at some point you reach too many big blinds where it's no longer profitable just to try and win the blinds with ace king. You need to have bigger aspirations with 40 big blind stack and ace king. You want to say, I want to be doubling up here for 80K for 80 bigs, not like I want to take down a blind and a half by just ripping it all in because I don't know how to play ace king pre-flop, post-flop. I keep saying pre-flop. Does that make sense?
No, it's good.
There's a fine line between like I could just pick up all this dead money and I'm playing this hand like a wussy. And I think that marker is around the 35 big blind marker, 30 to 35. We don't need to be jamming ace king. We can just 3-bet to 5 bigs, see a flop, and if we miss it, we're down from 35 to 30. We don't need to just pile it all in there and play scared.
I play scared with it. But now that I think about it as
and I always say this, and then I'm sitting there with 28 bigs, and I'm like, God damn it, there's just enough money out there. I'm taking it down. I don't want the flop to come queen, jack, deuce.
I don't want to do it.
And you know what? And I really think that's the difference between like the poker pros that can just stomach it every time. And they're like, you know what? This is the right play. I know that it's not going to work out for me every single time, but I still know it's the right play, so I'm going to do it. As opposed to being like, you know what? This might be a little crazy here, but I'm never going to really get punished. I'm going to take down a blind and a half. How big of a mistake could it be? So I take that. Well, it might not have been a big mistake, but you might have had a much more profitable round that we didn't take because we're too scared. And I think sometimes we just need to get out of our comfort zone and prepare to be unprepared in those spots. And, that's how we actually get better at poker is, stepping out of your comfort zone and saying, I know this is right, just don't know quite how to do it. Well, let me try it. And I think Ace King, it's why Ace King's so hard to play, because it's so how is the hand so strong that I'm saying you can blast queens off of it, but we're too scared to put chips in and see a flop because we don't know what to do when we miss. You know what I mean? Like that logic doesn't make sense. It falls apart somewhere. The hand's either too strong or not strong enough. It can't be both.
Too strong or not strong enough.
So I in summary, I think setting up pre-flop with 3 bets, 4 bets, defining ranges, and getting yourself heads up translates to making more money on the flop because you're going to miss the flop 70% of the time. But if we're playing heads up, we're going to be able to take the pot, repping aces, repping kings, repping all the hands they're scared of us having by c-betting, taking down those pots. I mean, those pots add up. When you got 8 big blinds in each, and then now you're just too chicken to c-bet on Jack 10-4, well, then they take it away or they win with their pocket 5s because you got too scared to 3-bet and you check it all the way down. Like, I got a pair of 5s. You're good.
5s are good.
Yeah, well, there goes 18 big blinds because, we misplayed Ace King and we decided to put all this money in pre-flop, but then not protect our money when we missed. So I think there's a lot of mistakes that get made pre-flop that turn into, difficult decisions and us playing passively and just mucking Ace King and being frustrated with the hand. 70% of the time we're going to be missing. So we need to be prepared for that. And we need to have other weapons to our disposal than the flop coming Ace 4-2 turn king. Yeah, that's going to happen sometimes, but the majority of the time it's going to be,
if that's what you're waiting for, it's going to be a difficult time.
It's going to be a difficult. Then just fold Ace King pre-flop. Or just jam it
in and take down the blinds.
Yep. Or if you get called with queens, well, now you're racing, and you did this to yourself by taking the race pre-flop, and here we go. And I mean, hey, sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll call with Ace Queen, and you'll be 70% because the hand's just that strong. But I really think the only time we should be playing tournament poker, conservative, tight, trappy poker with Ace King is when we have 15 big blinds and we're trying to trap them. Or we have 120 big blinds, and now we don't need to go crazy with Ace King. Now we can, when we get 3-bet, we can call, and when it comes a 9-high board, we can c-bet, and when we get raised, we can just muck. Because
you know what? The way.
We only got 8 big blinds in there, but we have 120, so it's not that important. We don't need to, just go apeshit with Ace King when we have a million big blinds. But, the majority of the CCG and Houston and day 2 pokers in the WSOP circuit, stuff like that, we're not going to be dealing with hundreds of big blinds. It's going to be more the
20s, 30s, 15s,
comfortable if you have
40s,
40, chip leader if you got 100.
Yep.
Not like the main event where you're normal when you have 150 and your chip leader you have 1,000. I mean, those don't exist in the real world. I mean, Liam will be playing one, but for the rest of us,
for the rest of us mortals, for the
rest of us mortals, we'll be sitting with 80 big blind stacks. So that's my Ace King spiel. I don't know.
I like it. I think the number one thing that I'm going to take away is the fact that Ace King is a number one drawing hand, and you have to play it that way, and you need to be aggressive with it pre-flop, and have different ways to win. It's my favorite line that you always say. When you have a flush draw, bet it twice, give yourself a chance to win it twice. And it's so funny now that I've been betting my draws,
and taking them down, you're
I'm like, holy shit, this works. Like, I can't believe this worked. And then if a guy does call, it's like, cool, just a bigger pot I'm going to win when I drill this hard on the turn. And then I brick again. And I was like, just keep firing. It'll work eventually, or I'll lose all my money.
And then you can just rebuy.
Yeah, just rebuy. Rebuy.
Yeah.
Also, another one of my favorite episodes. I think that was so early in the podcast. I want to say the re-entry versus freeze-out tournaments might be one of the first 3 episodes, and it's still one of our most popular. The re-entry debate, talking about Yeah, that's number 3. Re-entry debate. One of our most popular episodes is the re-entry debate. Should you re-enter? How should you do it? Rebuys, freeze outs, all that kind of good stuff. How you should play
this
differently.
was 2020 when like Negreanu and all them were saying
kind of poo-pooing.
Because rebuys are bad for the overall poker community. The pros,
they're bad for the average player, the average Joe. They're bad for the Liams that are going way up in stakes that are playing a 10K tournament, and you got some millionaire who's like, I'll fire 5 bullets. I don't care. He treats that 10K like we treat $120 deep stack at any deep stack. Houston, Chicago, Vegas, doesn't matter. If I play a $100 Venetian tournament, like it's almost like, I don't want to say it's comical, but I'm not nervous to play in that. I will fire 3 or 4 or 5, or in Jordan land, 8 bullets in that thing, and it's just like,
it's okay. Every single time you lose, it's like, oh well, I'll try again.
I feel bad. Anything. I feel bad, but I feel like an $800 losing session in PLO is like, well, that wasn't so bad. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Meanwhile, this guy just goes 10K, 10K.
He's
10K,
going
10K,
50K. He's like, oh, 50K, no big deal. So it is relative. So I do get that debate. I don't know how I ended up dragging us into a re-entry debate, but either way, thank you so much for listening. We have one more episode left of the top 6 toughest premium poker hands. It's 10s, which I feel like every top list, like the number 1 should be like the shitty one. Like you shouldn't just wait till the end. Like I feel like we just peaked, and the pocket 10s episode's gonna be like the,
like if we were gonna redo this, I would say we would just done top 5 and then switch
100%.
Yeah, and even if you wanted to, I really think that jacks are really third hardest because 10s are there. Mm-hmm. If there was no 10s, we could switch ace, king, and jacks.
I currently love the list that we're at right now, with it going ace, king is the most difficult premium hand, then followed by jacks, and then what? Aces, kings, and queens?
Kings, aces, queens, I think. Kings
Whatever.
Are very easy. Then ace, then queens, then aces. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Ace,
Kings,
king, jacks.
Yep, we got it.
And then
now 10s. And if anybody knows how to play 10s,
please let us know, because we have I have no idea
how to play 10s.
Right. I think that's what the episode's going to be. It's just like, we're not sure. We'll do maybe we'll do like a call-in episode. That would be awesome.
We really should. We should get like 3 people to call in and just
do it at an event. Maybe we'll just do it at the event. All right. Either way, thanks for listening. If you are listening to this in November of 2022, and it is the middle of November, make sure you come out and check us out in Chicago, in Lombard, Kings Hall, for the Black Friday Early Bird, the largest charity poker event in the Midwest, quite possibly the galaxy. It is a wild tournament. I don't know how this thing ended up happening. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's amazing that for the $20 early bird at 2 p.m. on Black Friday, which is the Friday after Thanksgiving, we've had, I think the record's 520?
535. 535.
I was going to say 526. It's 5 something. Under 550, over 5 1/4. It's somewhere in that realm.
So you just won't take my word that it's 535?
Okay, I believe you. 530. You're right. 535 is the new record. I would love to have them get more entries. Obviously, it's re-entries. 30 tables in Chicago to play in that. It's an amazing event, and it's super fun to play in. And if you've never experienced, imagine like the regular deep stack at all of the deep stacks you play is like the normal early bird. And then when you play like the Black Friday bird, it's like the WSOP main event version of the early bird. Like, it's just bananas.
I mean, we're going to have 30 tables set up, so 300 players to start. There's pre-registration. You can go to any event and pre-register if you want.
It's amazing.
You got an hour of late reg. I mean, in recent years, there's been times where you bust out and, you're 45th in line.
Right.
But you know what? We roll through pretty quick, because when 30 tables are running, there's honestly somebody busting almost every hand.
Oh, yeah. Everybody busts the first hand for sure, too. So remember, it was great.
It's a blast.
So
if you can get through that thing with one bullet, God bless you.
Yeah. It's like surviving the zombie apocalypse surrounded by newborn babies, anchors, and I don't know, one arm.
You got one clip, and you got one clip.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're throwing your gun at people, hoping to kill zombies.
Throwing the bullets.
Yeah, it's great. Side note, I guess sidebar to this, our other sponsor, Paramount Social Club. If you are in the Houston area for Black Friday, go and check out Paramount Social Club. They're doing a 4K guaranteed. There, it costs $40. That includes your daily membership, your staff add-on, and all tournament entry fees, which is $40 all day. $4,000 guaranteed tournament. I expect it to be closer to $6K in general, but guaranteed at 4,000, which is an awesome tournament, super fun. Again, I think in Texas you get like 15K. Don't let the Chicago people hear that in Texas you get 15,000 in starting chips, but it is $40 buy-in.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's
okay?
bigger in Texas, everybody, and it is so much fun to play in. So go out and check it out. Hit up Dave. Make sure you mention the overlay. You'll see the signs. Brandon and I are going to do some meetup games in December for the Paramount crew. So we hope to see everybody out either in Chicago or Houston sometime soon. As always, thank you for listening. We hope that your poker is getting better by listening to us, or worst case scenario, play it at your next home game and be like, what a bunch of dipshits. Listen to what these two actually think. Either way, we don't care. Just play the podcast. Just play in the background. Just be like, hey, Alexa, play The Overlay, a poker podcast. Lead us out, Brando.
Yeah, I got nothing much. Just play that ace king strong pre-flop.
Ooh, you're gonna give us like a little coachy pep talk? Give it to me.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's it. That's
hey,
all I
Brandon,
got. Just
sell me
put
on
more tips in pre-flop.
Sell me on
with
ace king.
It's more than a draw.
It's more than a draw. It's a lifestyle.
It's power. It is power.
It is.
Farewell, everyone.
It is uncapable. Uncapable. Either way. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.